Welcome back to the Friday Show. I'm Scott Jagow, along with Ray Paulick. It's Friday, April 10th. Coming up today, Frank Stronach's latest vision, plus a question about Materiality's speed figure in the Florida Derby. But first, we are almost through the Derby prep season, with the Arkansas Derby being the final major 100-point prep on Saturday. And this is the third season, Ray, that we've had the point system versus the graded stakes earning system. And there were a lot of complaints originally, but those have died down significantly. How would you say it's working now in its third year?
I think it's working great. It's done what it's designed to do, which is to simplify the process, make it easier to follow. The best races get the most points, and you don't have a situation like we used to have with the graded stake system, where a horse that won a grade 3 race in November might earn as much money as a horse that won a grade 1 race in April. So to me, it's working exactly the way it's supposed to.
I guess if there are some lingering complaints, one is that the Breeders' Cup Juvenile still gets only 10 points, despite the, I know the history of it, but despite being the biggest 2-year-old race. And then the other thing is, you really are on a razor-thin margin in the 3-year-old season, because you got to put your eggs all in one basket in certain circumstances. If you have any setbacks, like Cairo Prince last year was one that comes to mind, and his trainer suggested maybe having a committee to have a fallback for the last few spots, kind of like what the Breeders' Cup does.
Well, having a committee and a point system is, to me, it's a hybrid that doesn't make a lot of sense. I prefer the way it is. I think it's working. It doesn't need fixing. There's a tiebreaker for those horses that are on the bubble. It's working. Don't fix it. It's not broken.
One of the emails we received in our inbox came from Rachel, who was asking about the Beyer speed figures between the Florida Derby and the Louisiana Derby. In the Louisiana Derby, International Star got a 98, even though he ran the mile and an eighth 2 seconds faster than Materiality, who got a 110 in the Florida Derby. So, of course, we went right to the source, Andrew Beyer, to find out why the discrepancy.
Well, Andy was nice enough to provide a very detailed explanation of the two races and speed figures in general. The primary reason for the existence of speed figures, he told me, is the fact that racing surfaces are not uniform. They change from day to day. On that particular day, Gulfstream Park was a very slow surface, and at Fairgrounds in Louisiana, that surface is very fast. What speed figure makers do is they attempt to measure with some precision the inherent speed of a racing surface. They calculate what's generally known as a track variant, a number used to adjust the final time of a race. In particular, Andy said, according to his calculations for Beyer speed figures, Materiality would have covered a mile and an eighth in 1:49 and 3 if he had raced over the Fairgrounds track. That's 3 seconds faster than he won the Florida Derby in at Gulfstream.
Be interesting to see how those two do in the Kentucky Derby based on that. If you want the entire explanation from Andrew Beyer, visit the Triple Crown section of our website. The next time you're at Gulfstream Park, make sure you take the short walk from the paddock to Frankie's Sports Bar. It's one of the newest additions to the Village at Gulfstream Park, which is a dining, shopping, entertainment complex that surrounds the racetrack. And not only is Frankie's named after Frank Stronach, the Eclipse Award-winning breeder, owner, racetrack owner, it's part of his vision for the future of food service. Frankie's isn't your ordinary sports bar. Sure, you can watch any game you want, the place is crawling with TVs, and there are beers on tap and all the other amenities you'd expect. But you won't find any fried chicken wings here. The wings are grilled. There's plenty of fresh produce, and all the meat served at Frankie's comes directly from the progressive Adena Springs Ranch.
So all the beef comes from our farm, all the chicken comes from our farm up in Ocala. No stress to the animals, no hormones, no antibiotics, no GMOs. It's a very unique program.
The star of the menu has to be the $1 Million Burger. That's not just a name. The Stronach team spent $1 million researching and perfecting a grass-fed beef patty.
And then the way Frank likes everybody to try it is naked, which means no bun, no lettuce, no tomato, you don't really need anything. You just taste the beef alone on the plate, and it's awesome.
While you're noshing, don't forget you can bet at one of 4 wagering terminals, and on the weekends there's a roving teller. Watch all the Gulfstream races on a 180-inch video wall. If you're looking for something fancier after a day at the track, visit the Adina Grill next door. It's a steakhouse with the same farm-to-fork experience in a fine dining environment. The final piece of the puzzle will be a gourmet market later this year, so people can take home the healthier meats and organic vegetables.
And some, different food stations, a little bit of interactive training, and some chefs teaching customers how to cook and prepare these products, and a little cafe as well. It's very exciting.
The Adina Foods team is doing a soft launch with the sports bar, the grill, and the market. They want to tweak them until they're ready for the bigger vision, and that's expansion to other locations.
Why couldn't a chain of restaurants be something of a new concept where everything is ultimately fresh, healthy, and good for you, and doesn't contain contaminants, and that's what it's all about.
The most interesting thing to me is that Frank Stronach, at the age of 82, is coming up with new ideas. He's constantly thinking, always looking for the next thing, and I hope with Frankie's Place, he's got a winner.
You got to respect that, and I think he might. All right, that's it for this week's edition of the Friday Show. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.